Ile login uliniweka ili
already live. Okay. You already started the shows. Karibu.
Yes, good evening. Of course, here is Africa 24. East African time is 27 minutes past 11 p.m. And of course, this is Africa 24, your 24-hour channel whereby we unlock stories from all over the world. And today, of course, here in East Africa is on Saturday, after what we always experience in the streets of Nairobi when it's on the weekend. Then a lot of bars are up to brim. Now we are here to discuss about politics because here I have gentlemen who really understand what is politics, and of course the main concern is William Ruto and Raila Odinga handshake. It has really caused a lot of chronicles in the country. Today we saw what happened in Machakos, whereby Raila said that Ruto is going nowhere until 2032. And it is in the same venue whereby the Secretary General of the ODM party, Edwin Sifuna, said that he will distance himself when it comes to supporting Ruto in 2027. He's not going to that direction whereby his political party leader is following. Now, we also seen a lot of people saying that this handshake is meant to make Kenyans suffer even more. We shall be discussing all those, but before we start the show, I want just to welcome the panelists we have here so that they can introduce themselves, where they following this great conversation, and how was their weekend. Of course, we have to know how was their weekend. I will start with Jeremiah Omondi, my good friend.
Bon, good evening. Asante sana. Jeff Mburu, good to see you. Mzalendo. Alex, good to see you all. Interesting topics to be discussed. Looking forward to the discussion.
Perfect, Jeremiah. We also have Jeff Buru. Jeff Buru, karibu sana. Patia salam za Johnny.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. How are you, viewers, the panelists? Yes, we are here ready to contribute to this beautiful discussion. Thank you.
Yes, that is Jeff Mburu. We also have my good friend Alex here. Karibu sana, Alex.
Thank you for hosting us, Bonnie. I look forward to having a great panel us discussing politics in and out. Na saizi mtu yote yako Kenya ukae standby hivi na ndengu, anytime unaweza pewa chapati.
Yes, I feel sorry for Mzalendo because he cannot get those chapatis. Now we also have Mzalendo here. Mzalendo, karibu sana bwana. 7 days we have not seen you in Africa 24. You have a lot to tell us today.
You know, thank you guys, and I've been away for at least a week. Nikifanya kibarua. Nilikuwa kwa mjengo the whole week, so Saturday na Sunday ndio mzungu anatupatia off. So Saturday, Sunday I am free, but nimeshukuru sana kuwaona Jeffrey Mburu, Alex, Jeremy and Bonnie. Thank you for having me in the show.
Sande sana Mzalendo. Sande sana the great panelists here. Now we're starting with what we saw today in Machakos, whereby Raila said that Ruto is going nowhere until 2032, and it is in the same venue where the SG ODM, that is the ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, also said that he will not support Ruto. He will distance himself from what Raila is doing. And we saw when they were signing that handshake, that is memorandum of understanding, the body posture and also facial expression of Sifuna, Ledamo Lekina, and other loyal followers of Azimio, that is ODM, were not happy. I will start with Jeremiah. Jeremiah, what do you have to tell us about this? Do you think Raila now is happy in the government. It's high time now he stays in the government until 2032. And what is your take about his loyal followers who have been following his own path? Is it the highest time now Raila betrayed his followers, the likes of Babu Wino?
Bon, thank you very much for giving me the opening remarks. It's an honor. But I want to deviate a little bit from your question. I'm actually going to just brush over your question, but bring to the fore something that I observed this week that is a great concern to me. And then I've seen a few other people on social media having the same concern. I think that we all agree on this panel that Ruto as a president does not mean well for this country. I'm not so sure if he knows which direction he needs to drive this country. He's like a blind man in the dark looking for his walking stick. Back in the days, and I know that Mzalendo can relate with this because we went through this when we were all in primary school back in Homa Bay. Whenever we heard that Moi was coming, okay, it was a cause of celebration. Schools would be closed. Children would line up on the roads, and teachers will be haggling to know which road is he going to use, how is he going to arrive, where is he going first, where is he going next, who will be there. The reason for that was so that Moi will stop by the roadside, give children milk, okay, give them some money, buy them a cow to go and eat for that day, and maybe even buy the school a bus. And he used to do that sacrilegiously everywhere he went, whether he was in Western, Nyanza, Coast, Northeastern, everywhere. When Kibaki came in, it was similar, as much as he wasn't doing a lot of the roadside, announcements and rallies and things. But when Kibaki was coming, students would line the roads to see President Anakuja, and you would see a presidential convoy, complete with those outriders and the presidential escort, the vehicles that the license plate said presidential escort. You would feel the aura of power coming. Uhuru and Ruto, when they first came in, they did something that everyone thought was going to be good. They said, we want to demystify the presidency. I know that you all remember at Uhuru's swearing in, where Bahati, the musician, actually went and sat on the president's seat, something that is akin to unseating the president. Whereas at that time, demystifying the presidency was a noble thing. I think that Ruto has taken this too far. We also the thuggery that follows his convoy across the city this past week. People get killed, people get mugged, and I was fortunate this week to actually see one of his convoys in Eastlands yesterday. And I was shocked, very, very shocked. And I hope that all Kenyans are shocked the same way so that we can discuss towards fixing this. The president's convoy does not even look like a presidential convoy. Yeah? His convoy is awash with border riders. Since when did we have borders being on the convoy of the president? It used to be that the presidential convoy, when it's coming, there is no one else on the road until he goes. If you are a civilian and you're not authorized to be on the convoy, you will join it after all protocols have gone. hii ya Ruto, that his convoy right next to his vehicle, hakuna zile pikipiki za outrider. You don't even see presidential. I was even asking myself, ile police unit ya presidential escort, is it even still there? This guy has really messed up this aura of the presidency and the power that comes with that. It is about time we call him out about this. This is not where Kenya should be. That if the president is coming, schools are scared. Across Eastlands yesterday, because Ruto was coming to Eastlands, children were being sent home. Because they fear of the target that is going to come with the president being in Eastlands. People closed shops because of the target that is going to come with the president being in Eastlands. This is absolutely unacceptable. The coming of the president in your area should be something that makes people happy and excited. It should not be a cause for security concern. I don't know how this is going to be communicated to Ruto, but he needs to really know that this is wrong. And the reason why I'm saying that is like a blind man in the dark looking for his walking stick is that this very week, his convoy killed a foreigner, a philanthropist who was in Kenya doing philanthropy work. This government has not said a thing about it. No one has said anything, no apology, no official communication to the incident and how it happened and what's going to happen moving forward. I was really disgusted. As much as I am okay with him being president because of the dynamics around his removal or his replacement is not something I'm okay with, but we have to call a spade a spade. This person is going to mess up this country. He is really making the presidency look like a political rally for a thug somewhere. He's, as much as they say demystifying the presidency, I think he has taken it too far. And I don't know how we need to put this message out. The president, when he's coming, people should feel happy and safe. And this convoy should be just the authorized security personnel, vehicles and pikipikis and all of that. There is no place for border thugs to be the ones riding next to the president's vehicle. And yeye amefungua dirisha, anatoa mkono, anawasalimia, anacheka as is promising chapatis. We need to really discuss, and for me, I think that's what we need to discuss, despite what ODM and its officials say. For me, at this point, that is non-partisan. What's partisan for me is we need to call Ruto out on these things that he's doing that are damaging our country, like we know it. ODM, they can say what they want, they can do what they want, but the presidency has to be respected. That has always been since independence. That is what I think we need to really look at. I rest my case.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeremiah, of course, for those wonderful submission here. And we're going to also check on that. Now, we have also Jeff Buro here. Yes, Jeff, just to ask you about what you think about Ruto, Raila handshake, and how this one is going to impact our country. Because also today Raila said that he is comfortable with Ruto being the president until 2032. He was asking Kenyans, Ruto aende wapi? You two, are you comfortable with that, or are you still backing up what Jeremiah is saying, that the president is going to take the country to the wrong direction until he's out of the government?
Thank you so much, Bonnie, for this opportunity. I want to start by saying that the government is always bad so long as Raila Odinga is not in it. When he is outside, everything about that government is bad. He criticizes the government. He fights the government. He called this government illegitimate government. He called for demonstrations that turned chaotic. He did everything possible to discredit the government of William Ruto. But as soon as he joined the government, William Ruto became an angel. That is who Raila Odinga is. And I want to tell you, Bonnie, there is a saying in our language that goes that Wainaga Neroragira. The one who used to dance, it reaches a point in life when he has to watch. He can no longer dance. Raila Odinga was a very good dancer in the political realm, but this is the time for him to watch as others dance. That dance that he used to dance very well, because I can say he is time bad. And I can tell you without fear of contradiction, right now, Kenyans are getting bored by his kind of politics. The moment you do the same thing over and over again, people get used to you. That is why you see some of his staunch supporters have now started saying, no, this man is misleading us. People that would have never thought at any given time they would defy Raila Odinga. Right now, they are saying, no, mzee, hatuko pamoja na wewe. The direction you are taking, we are not together with you. Someone like Sifuna, someone like Babu Owino, imagine Babu Owino of all people. So that should be sending a signal to Raila Odinga that it is the high time for him to appoint a higher and bless that person and build that person politically so that he can take from him. Otherwise, he can only assure William Ruto of his one vote, saying that he is confident that because he has said William Ruto will go up to 2032 is a beautiful dream. He should dream, it's okay, but I'm saying he should sleep and dream again, because dreams are varied. But this one of saying with confidence, because I am there, he is going to become, I don't know where he is getting that authority from. And William Ruto has become one of the most unpopular presidents that we have ever had. Actually, he is the most unpopular among all of them. Everything he says, Kenyans ridicule him. Kenyans describe him as a liar, a deceiver, a hypocrite, someone who does not mean whatever he says. When you go to the social media right now, they are full of chapatis. I mean, people are not taking the president serious. They don't see him as a serious person, which is very dangerous. He should ask, instead of telling Kenyans that they are giving him names, he should be asking himself, why are Kenyans praying around with him the way they are doing? Why is he being hated by majority of Kenyans? Why are the youth flocking on the social media to ridicule him, to draw those cartoons, to set those pictures of chapatis? It is because they know him as a joker. Someone a very young person told me, Ruto does not even talk like a president. And she was telling me, can you compare Ruto when he is talking and Uhuru or Kibaki or Moi or any other president that we have ever had? People don't see Ruto as if he is presidential. He has done things that make him look like just like a carico or just someone who is not very serious. So he should start now organizing himself. He should start talking like a president, behave like a president, mean every word that proceeds from his mouth, and Kenyans will start taking him seriously. But as for now, people don't see him like as if he's the president of Kenya. Myself, I try very hard to respect him. I have never called him names. I hear people call him Kasongo, as all those names. The reason I don't do it, I don't call him names, is because of my Christianity. But otherwise, I would be joining Kenyans to give him another name. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Perfect, my good friend Jeff Buru, for that submission. I also have Angie. Angie, of course, she's one of our own here. She has been coming here severally to give our own views about the country. Now, Angie, what is your take about Raila Odinga handshake together with William Ruto? Is this handshake meaningful to our country, or this is just the start of another downfall? As Kenyans are used to saying since 2022, after what they thought is going to happen now, they are still crying, saying that they were lied.
Hi everyone, Mzalendo, Jeff, Jeremiah, Alex, Bonnie. Hope you are doing well wherever you are.
Salama Angie.
Sometimes I normally see people calling Raila Odinga con man, and he's a really con man. Raila Odinga has nothing good to do with representing Kenyans in a Kenya Kwanza government. He's there to represent his stomach and his followers, like Akina Junet Mohammed. Those are the people he's presenting. And you remember one time, Ruto said that they are calling me Sakayo. I'll not be called Sakayo alone. I want to make sure we are going to be called many Sakayos. What did he mean? Alimaanisha nini? Alimaanisha hizi vitu zenye anafanya za ukora na uongo hatafanya peke yake. Hataingiza Raila Odinga box wafanye wote. And that's what Raila Odinga is doing. He has nothing good for Kenyans. If he has nothing, he has meant to present Kenyans, he could have just stand firm as an opposition leader and face William Ruto and tell him this is not good, this is not good, this is not good. But instead, he is now silent, eating. As long as pesa zinaingia kwa mfuko, iko shida wapi? And you can see how the rally of William Ruto has been in Nairobi. It was of a big thief moving around with the cars and small thieves moving around on their legs, looting all around. And he has some police officers on his rally who are escorting him. You can imagine what happened on Thika Road, Outer Ring Road, Kibera. People were being looted, and you are you are addressing who? You are addressing thieves. Well, that shows that Ruto and Raila Odinga are just digging a hole for Kenyan to sink in it. And next time we'll just hear that the Kenya has been sold to Chinese coming to occupy everywhere in Kenya. That's what William Ruto is doing. He has nothing good. You wonder the type of the president after being called those names. Why can't he just sit down and call himself for a special meeting and ask himself why are these names trending? A whole president launching a chapati machine, and the person who is being launched to is Governor Sakaja, who even can't explain himself. I watched the last time when he was in the Senate, when he was told to explain how he got to Dish in a county. He can't even explain how much he has paid on Dish on county, how he has paid the workers on Dish on county. He can't explain anything. Then you are moving around. Oh, even sometimes I wonder when people on WhatsApp group say that Ruto 10 bila break. I normally wonder, are they using their normal minds? Are they thinking, or they are just there because they are Raila diehards? So they are eating from the government, they don't mind about it. After all, bora wewe unapata pesa, Raila amekutengenezea katenda fulani hapo karibu kwa Ruto, unapata tu pesa. Or I don't know how we are, but I tell you, Kenyans are tired all over. As much as he was walking along Nairobi na rali za wizi akisema mimi nitasema nitafanya. When he was Kayole, it was on last year on November, when he said that hii barabara naenda kujenga, aliwahi jenga. So you are expecting to get machine ya chapati? Ruto will never change. He is the same now, tomorrow, and the other day, and yesterday, and the other day, and last year. He is just Kahongo, Kasongo. He will never change. He will never change Kenyan. In fact, if you want to see Ruto that he has no future for Kenyans, just look at education system. Look for health system. Is when you will see, is he the president? Is he leading people to the right direction? Look at the education and health system. Hizo vitu mbili tu zitakwambia Ruto ni nani. Hadi wa leo watoto hawajielewi, wa grade 9 wanaenda wapi, wanatoka wapi. Hadi wa leo university funding model imekuwa bado tu ni shida. Ana release pesa akiwa kwa rally kwa na mdomo hivyo tu imeingia kwa account. Hadi wa leo SHA is having a very big problem. Hadi wa leo doctors are on strike. Like now it's only Kenyatta National Hospital which is working, you know. Understand? Mama Lucy wako kwa strike, Kajiado wako kwa strike, Nakuru wako kwa strike, wapi, all county hospitals are on strike. Clinical officers and doctors are on strike, and he is busy promising machine ya chapati. He is busy at the church donating 100 million. Why can't you take those 100 million into a hospital? Why can't you take those 100 million in university funding model for our kids to benefit from education? Kasongo has nothing good. I rest my case there.
Thank you so much, Handshake. She said that Kasongo has nothing good. Of course, there is sentiments. We also have Alex. Yes. Shortly, Alex, give us your sentiments about Ruto Raila handshake and how impactful is this handshake to the country.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity, Bonnie. I've had some very good ideology or philosophies from Angie, from Jeremiah, and Jeff, and I think you guys were mulikuwa na notes zangu. You guys have highlighted some very great points about what's happening. For me, I want to attack the Kenyan police and to judge the government and even the courts, because ni juzi tu Boni, we have had somebody was thrown out of a Super Metro matatu and he died because of a 30 shillings only. Somebody amerushwa nje ya matatu amekufa, and up to now I am yet to hear any accountability of that matatu. I'm yet to hear the Super Metro Sacco being banned or anything being done. I'm yet to hear even the conductor being caught, and even now watu wenye walikuwa kwa hiyo matatu, they could literally do nothing, because how can you take somebody's life because of 30 shillings only? Uko kwa matatu and then you see somebody is serving a button with the conductor because of the small shilling, if you have to just pay for him your story mara moja, because I find it very wrong. Somebody to lose his life because of a 30 shillings, okay? And I have not had any accountability. I've not really just being served to the family, and even that driver and the conductor need to be jailed. So it really needs a lot of questions from the government we have. And then sasa hizi tunasikia hapa the president anaenda na launch machine ya kupika chapati 1 million. Eh, those are the things we are launching. In China, people are thinking about ways in which when earthquake strikes, the house can be placed in the air so that nini kukuata na kitu kama hivi floods, they can try to minimize them sweeping the houses and everything. And those are the issues which huku Kenya we have to start thinking about them. So if you check countries easy, I don't know whether we follow up on news from other countries elsewhere. I think it's either Zimbabwe, not Zimbabwe. There's a country in Africa, I've forgotten it, the name. They are starting to try and develop cars. And those are the things we have to see in this country. People are trying to develop in ways. Here in Kenya, we have a lot of technocrats. We have brilliant people, and the amount of money that is in this country is enough for us to develop ourselves. But yet we still lag behind in terms of development, in terms of growth, and we like to brag a lot that to Kombele. So I believe we have settled for less, and our problems transcend beyond the President William Ruto, because and I use the example of the people of Kiambu huko kwa kina huko watu wa Mount Kenya. They were so determined to remove Kabogo, and they moved from Kabogo to Waititu. So that is not a step forward, because that is just a recycling the same monkeys, the same thieves into power. So that shows there's a culture, there's a system in this country that is rewarding a terrible leadership. So I believe we have to break that cycle, so that tusijipate, even as Raila said, Ruto must go. Then, so you remove Ruto, you put in another thief who right now is advocating for the issues that Kenyans are facing, and then Akingyuko kwa power goes and does the same things. So I believe sijui niseme through spirituality or what, but I believe we have to break through the terrible culture that is there in the politics, and na hii system ya kurecycle the same thieves, the same old monkeys into power. And I believe we can do better as times goes by. People are getting much more smarter. Recently Odinga amekuwa Kisii, and he has realized that there he doesn't have sycophants, so he can't just go there and after signing a deal with the president and expect the people to be happy with him. Because we know all sovereign powers belong to the people. So if the people never wanted him to join, why would he join into the power? And then you try to manipulate people's perception. And as time goes by, I think Raila is slowly losing his relevance ever since the Gen Z demonstration ile yenye aliambiwa Agwambo stay at home, and then he went out and signed a deal with the government. So but I believe political wise, what I'm seeing from the opposition, I believe we can do better going forward, and I hope the best for this country. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful submission. Of course, if you're watching Afrique 24 from other social media platform, make sure you subscribe to Afrique 24. That is FRIQ24, Afrique 24 social media platforms, and the most important, in the YouTube channel. Then you'll get a lot of news over there. Also, news concerning politics here every day from Monday to Sunday, and also we also have matters concerning sports, Dimbal Afrique, every Monday at 10 p.m. East African time. Now we have Mzalendo. I know Mzalendo has a lot of things to share. Mzalendo, now karibu sana to Afrique 24. Give us your views about Raila Odinga Ruto handshake, and how this handshake is useful for Kenyans. Is it going to change country or it is going to make country go astray as Kenyans are used to since 2022. What is your take about that? And Raila also getting to the government. How about his loyal followers who have been so close to him and they have been making sure that Kenya's grievances have been represented in the opposition? Now they are in the government. What is your take about that?
Thank you, Bonnie, for the good question. And I think that is what people have been discussing throughout the week. But first of all, it is unfortunate. Let us just go back and reflect what happened during the presidential tour. I think Jeremy mentioned it, and it is sad. A president is visiting Nairobi County. We have NSIS, we have the police, we have all these intelligence bodies that organize the presidential tour. Then we have got thugs from all over Kamkunji raiding and attacking pedestrians, robbing them of whatever valuables they had. Alongside the presidential tour, that tells you of what society will become. This is a lawless society. So far, I understand that 38 people have been arrested. But you see, you are arresting people after an incident. You could have predicted what is going to happen so that you can stop it. You see politicians flying in with the choppers and all that. There could be a chopper up there looking at what is happening down on the ground to make work easier. So it is sad. It shows how the society of Kenya is. It shows the joblessness in Kenya, especially on a weekday. People turning out to meet the president on a weekday like that. It shows that most of the youths who are attending those functions are jobless. They have got nothing to do. So that is the society that we are in. And in some instances, you saw the president being heckled. So people don't really appreciate him much. And when you see huge crowds like that, then there is a lot of money that has been involved in mobilization. When you see the leadership of Nairobi going to State House, it is just for the money, so that they can mobilize crowds to meet the president. While everything that the president was doing could have been done in a boardroom. Yeah, even the launching of chapatis could have been done without us even knowing. Then later on, we see, oh, this is something that President Ruto had launched some times back. Let your legacy be defined by what you are doing in the background. Don't show us what you are doing. I think people don't understand where we are moving in politics and the direction that we are taking in politics. And for one, Raila Odinga, I think most of his supporters have elevated him to a semigod, a demigod, somebody who they feel that his opinion has to be followed by each and everybody. No. Raila Odinga makes mistakes just like any other human being. Just like William Ruto can make mistakes, just like yourself, you've made mistakes. Even Jesus Christ himself, he had told people to repent. People make mistakes. So Raila Odinga has made mistakes, and this one he had made a mistake, and now walking back of what he has done is very, very difficult for politicians. When they make mistakes, they have to stick by their mistake till the end. Hata ikikuwa karanga namna gani, they have to stick by it. So you read the mood of the country, you read what people want in the country. Then people are mixed up thinking that, okay, elections are about roads, elections are about these are the things that we used to talk about so many years back. Elections are about today. The elections are about job opportunities. Elections are about the youth. Most of the elections is centered in the economy. If the economy is doing well, then everybody would be busy and happy with the presidency and the people around the presidency. If the economy is not doing well, and the economy is not judged by the numbers that you see, Buddy, and other economists telling us figures that we can't comprehend, or telling us that we have paid debt. Economy is judged by how much employment you have created for the people of Kenya, especially the youth. How many industries do we have in Kenya that are running, have created new opportunities in the market? That is how you elevate the economy of the country. But this is a country where the political class are the ones who are doing very well. And they were the ones who are being followed left, right, and center, followed by the church leaders. Yeah, that is where the economy is running. That is where the money that you are taking each and every time. Well, that's why the president spends 20 million in a church. That is where the economy is. This economy is controlled by a few individuals. It does not belong to us. If you ask anybody in the comment section or anybody watching us from from watching us on, who is watching us on YouTube, if they have invested in stocks, if they had put any kind of investment, but when you talk to the rich people, they are buying stock, they are buying shares, because that is where they are the only ones who can afford. Ordinary Kenyans cannot afford a meal on the table. They cannot afford a meal on the table. And we say that the economy is good. No, there is nothing that is working for the people. When we go back to the justice for the victims during the demonstrations that have happened, what is the president doing, or what is the leadership doing, or what is the broad-based government doing to compensate at least the victims? What are they doing? They're doing nothing about it. Instead, they're just stamping and talking about Wamunyoro. I don't know even who Wamunyoro is. Gachagua is not even running for president. I don't know why he is in our minds all the time. Our minds are focused on a good country and good governance. That is where our focus and energy is. If Ruto can provide that in the next 2 years, then so be it. If he can't provide that, then let us elect a leader who is going to lead this country. And this country, we are not at war. We are not at war. The way Raila Odinga purports that, if I'm not in power or anybody else, then the country cannot move towards the right direction. There are very, very bright Kenyans out there who would want to be to lead this country to economic stability and growth. But they cannot be given a chance because of the political cabal. These guys, they watch their backs easily. When Raila walks up and says that, we didn't know where this country was going to, this is something that we have fought for a very long time. But he's forgetting that just a few years ago, he was in the streets trying to kick out the same government. Where was he going with that? The demonstrations. Where was they going with the demonstrations to storm State House? Isn't it the same thing? When the young people are asking for a seat on that table, who are they bringing in? They are recycling the old politicians. They are recycling the people who have been draining this country and putting this country into a lot of debt. If Raila Odinga and his group could wake up and one day and tell us, and this is my opinion, tell us that we are cutting down the government into size, we are reducing the salaries of the leaders in this country. The allowances are outrageous. The money that is being spent on me is a lot. Cut it down, Mr. President. I don't need this kind of money. While people in Kibera don't have clean water or sanitation, or people in Madari, they don't have good roads in between them. There are no good schools. We don't still have secondary education. Cut these expenses, but look at what they are doing. They want to expand the government, while most countries are trying to shift from expanding government to have a small government that we pay. That is productive. So that's how I look at how this country should be governed. We have a huge debt. But what are they doing? They are servicing the debt, but yet there are no measures that they are doing to cut down on the workforce in government. to cut down on the excesses in the counties. Even just the counties, they are increasing what they are giving to the counties. Yet we know that these counties, we are being ripped off by the governors. They are stealing left, right, and center. What measures are they doing? So let us just be cautious. Let us be focused on what we want for this country. We are not igniting any flames, but we want good governance, and we want it to come from the political class, and we want proper direction. Giving children chapatis is not a proper direction, and it should not come from the president. That is work that should have been launched by the governor and a few MCAs here and there, and we call it a day. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mzalendo. You're saying that giving chapatis to the resident and also launching chapatis is something that the president should not be associated with. Yes, Mzalendo also raised this concern of insecurity when we are having presidential tour. Also, Jeremiah, we are having a lot of people complaining about presidential tour in Nairobi, whereby some of the people, they lost their properties. We had the goons who were following up presidential
You know, Bonnie, let me just add, and maybe you are very young. Do you know when when Moi was visiting, or even Kibaki was visiting an area, that area, first of all, you'd find security everywhere. On the roadside, every other point. You wonder, when there is maandamano, there is a police everywhere. Everywhere.
Exactly.
But look at the president is visiting an area. Thugs are trailing the motorcade of the president. They knock down a foreigner. There is no statement coming from the president. Neither does the government spokesperson talk about it. This is a foreigner, a British national, is knocked down by the presidential motorcade.
Exactly.
They don't even stop by to take the guy to the hospital. No ambulance on the scene. Kenyans are watching and taking videos of the person. Look at this kind of society. This society is rotten. It is rotten until we do something about it. God help us.
Mzalendo, hata hivyo, huyo British nani alikuwa anafadhili watoto Kibira kimasomo, ambapo the president himself he cannot do that. So unaona wale watoto wameathirika Kibira, sasa masomo yao imegwama, hawataendelea na masomo. And the president himself, hata CDF peke yake kupata kwa hao watoto kwenda shuleni inakuwa ni shida. Is Ruto normal or he's abnormal or he has some mental illness? He needs some checkup.
He needs some checkup. Jeremiah, you raised this issue, of course. Now we're having Kenyans complaining. Is it that still, when it comes to those sensitive ministries, we have, for example, a Minister of Interior Security, does it start from the top that even the Minister for Interior Security is also reluctant? Like they say, as the boss.
Yes, they're reluctant. Why? Because their boss doesn't care what they do, as long as their boss is eating. And that is why the person to be called out is Ruto. That incident with this British national is something that warranted an immediate communication from the highest level possible, with an apology and proper investigation to find out how did this happen. And I'm shocked also, in the same breath, that the British High Commission hasn't asked for an investigation into this. And that is the part I'm not very sure I understand very well. But Bon, what I can tell you for a fact, and I know this makes Jeff smile, Ruto is not taking this country in the right direction. Something has to be done. The only problem, and where there's a diversion between Jeff and I, is the methodology of how that should be done. My side of my school of thought is that the approach that the other side wants to be employed to remove Ruto, my side feel like it's not the right thing. Because let me tell you one thing. Angie said something very important. The only thing that we ask those who are on the other side is that this Ruto, the former president, advised his bloc, the Mount Kenya mafia, the Mount Kenya people, that this person does not mean well for our country. This person will destroy our country. But the Mount Kenya bloc, they said that Ruto is going to be the person, and they supported him, and they put him in there. Now, like Orengo said one time, a dynasty eats its own children. The government that they put in to spite Raila and Uhuru is now eating them. Now they want Raila to come and rescue them. That is the point of departure between my school of thought and Jeff Mburu's school of thought. But with that said, I can guarantee you that there is no single Kenyan except maybe Ruto's family and people like Sudi and the likes, who actually believe Ruto is leading Kenya in the right direction. Now, moving forward, that is the status as it is right now. But moving forward with very serious foresight, the union of Raila and Ruto can go either way. Okay? It is just, that Kenyans have passed judgment on it, that it is a bad thing. What can happen is that Raila should and can call Ruto out on these things from inside and tell him, boss, we have joined hands with you, but these are 1, 2, 3, 4 irreducible minimums that we would like you to do so that we can support you. That hasn't happened yet. We don't know if it will happen. We don't know if it will never happen. But like I said, Bon, at sometime early last week, that Raila can sanitize this government. What I meant when I say sanitize was not that now to start telling Kenyans that this government is good while things are going south. Sanitize, what I meant was that they need to tell Ruto, this is what Kenyans are saying, this is how Kenyans feel, let's change it. We are coming in to help you change this. Is it okay? Do you need help with this? Then if Ruto refuses, then they can then part ways amicably. But I think that everyone agrees that this guy is really messing up our country. This guy is not, it does not mean well for our country. African countries are busy doing things. I was in Dar last week. Dar is growing. Sisi huku bado tunajivunia ati we are the largest economy, and 90% of our revenue goes to corruption, goes into people's private pockets. Dar is, you cannot compare Dar with Nairobi as we speak right now. At the rate at which they are growing, the rate at which the economy of the whole country of Tanzania is, Kenya will not see them. In the next 10 years, we'll just be sitting there and laughing. And they're looking at this and they're laughing at us. I saw somebody, a prominent lawyer, today write something that maybe Kenya is a circus, and we are the animals in that circus now to Jui, because the things we do are just abnormal. There are things that people look at us from outside and wonder, kwani hao wa Kenya, what is going on with them? How can a whole president sit in front of people and say that I'm going to give you a machine that will make a million chapos seriously? And the children you are telling this to, they are barely able to get to school. They're able to pay. They are barely able to pay their fees. They don't have uniforms. Kibaki left a very free education, system that was working. Where has that gone? The teachers have gone rogue in these institutions. My children go to public school. Yes, they say it's free, but the little things that the teachers want from you, that goes directly to them. This dish in a county, 20 bob every day. Every time your child goes to tuition, which is mandatory, 100 bob. The little monies that the teachers want from you in public school, when it's all said and done, they should just tell you, wewe, fee ni hivi, lipa fee, you pay it once and you forget, mtoto aende shule. The president is not addressing that. He's not looking at that as a problem. He's just promising to give them chapatis. While we know the system that is feeding the children, as good as it is just a cash cow for somebody else to make money. Health system is down to the dogs. And the government's Auditor General gives an official statement, not an opinion. An official Auditor General's office says the system that runs the SHA is not owned by the Kenyan government. It's owned by somebody out there somewhere. And the president still wants us to believe that this thing is good for us. It's going to improve healthcare. It's going to fix our social health issues. I think, as much as I support Raila Odinga as an elder statesman of this country, with everything he does, I think it will reach a point where, even myself, honestly, I'm thinking about it. Namburu usicheke. Yeah, I'm really thinking about it. But my problem is that, what is the alternative? I look at this formation of Raila and Ruto. It is a very bad formation. But I look across the aisle on the other side, and I see Gachagua and his team, and I'm wondering now, where is the solution? Because that side is even worse. I do not, in any sense of the word, see the way somebody like Gachagua can lead this country. He has never shown us anything that he has an interest of the country. He only has an interest for the Murema, which is very, very bad. Very bad taste in every Kenyan's mouth, except if you are from Murema. So where do we go? We really need to have serious discussions vile Anji amesema ati Ruto anafaa akae on a meeting with himself and whoever. Vile anasema me, myself and I. Call yourself for a meeting. Kenya, we need to call ourselves for a meeting and ask ourselves, really, is this really what we want? We are very fast heading in the wrong direction, and that has been happening for many years. But huyu Kasongo ameaccelerate hiyo mbio, anaipeleka teke teke. We are going to get there so fast, we won't even believe it. I do not like this administration, but I also equally do not want a section of Kenyans who are very, very equivocally told Ruto is not a good person for this country. Why do you think Uhuru is so quiet? He told people what he pointed to us as an elder statesman, which direction do we need to go? But some people defied him because they were spiting one person. Now, when things are going south, the person they were spiting, amepata mwanya akule, those very people who voted in the wrong administration want the person they spited to go back and save them. That is a no-no. That is not going to happen. To that extent, I hope that Raila, with this union with Ruto, he tries to sanitize this administration, show him the right way. Asikae tu na angalie vitu zikienda mrama. But this administration is going to be the end of us if we are not careful.
Yes, this administration will be the end of this country. 254. That is what Jeremiah is saying. And also in the comment section, I can see Awesome, Eric Ayaga, still they are active. Also, Angie saying that the president is launching chapatis while Mumia's member of parliament, that is Mumia's East member of parliament, is building a Kenya Medical Training College. Who wins when it comes to this? We have Eric Ayaga. Karibu sana Eric, Africa 24. You tell us where you're tuning this great conversation from and what is your view from President and Ruto, President Ruto and the Raila Odinga handshake. How is this impactful to our country? Is it going to change this country, or the same way Jeremiah said that it's going to take Kenya into a deep ocean where to come out of this will take us centuries?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm America. I'm in Nairobi, and you can get me. I hope you can get me clearly.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm in Nairobi. I'm a resident of this town for so many years, and I always sometimes peep at the comment section, but today I say let me come in so that I also have a say on the Kenyan political development. I'm wondering, I'm yet to see a handshake between President and Raila, because there is no handshake. And there is also no political information. I don't know where people like Jeremiah are getting all this information from, because I'm yet to be told any political information if iko, sidhani kama iko. So I think what has happened is a friend of an enemy of your enemy could be your friend. I think that is what happened between Raila and Ruto. You know, people do not talk the truth. I'm seeing people talk about Kibaki left this, Kibaki left that, Kibaki did this. Ruto did not pick the presidency from Mwai Kibaki. And that is what people should be kindly and genuinely say. And there is no a country that falls in 2 years. I think the people who did economics, I'm not one of them, should tell you how those predictability on part of research happens. So I don't think the country has fallen in 2 years. Since 2013, we have had a problem. We have took two people to power, and I remember, people just don't remember. I remember when the ambassador of UK, was he called Kriegler or somebody? It was UK and US. Few months to election, and we were heading to election in 2013, they came out and told us the choices have consequences. I cannot remember their names, but I can remember that statement. The headline of all the papers were choices have consequences. And the Kenyan people made those choices. So today we cannot blame one individual called William Ruto. We must blame the state from 2013, immediately after Kibaki. It has just because Kibaki left strong economy that made Uhuru Kenyatta look better now. But in this whole, they place us together. That we can't lie and we can't blame Raila Odinga on that. And when it comes to this issue of formation, political formation, I think Raila Odinga has just signed, I can say, reducible minimums, yeah? He gave a condition for him to work with the Ruto, and the condition is good. Before we work together, these are the conditions, and those conditions are 10 points agenda. And I think you heard Sifuna today, loud and clear. He said very clearly that we will only have a marking scheme. If police continue abduction, it is you and your party leader that has destroyed it. So you don't blame. We don't want this, because I think the crafters of that thing were very wise. We don't want somebody in future to say that ODM betrayed Ruto or ODM betrayed. They have not entered any political pact. ODM has just given the condition, and William Ruto have accepted the condition. If he fails to work on those conditions, if ODM walked away, because it is now is working under the mercy of ODM, and that is the truth, and that is why many people are bitter with Raila Odinga. People like Mburu, the Judge Jeff Mburu, they are bitter with Raila Odinga, and even if they are bitter with Raila Odinga, the fact is we need a stable country and stability in the country. We can't have a country where we have running battle ups and down. And Kenya is also a multi-ethnic, and our ethnicity is very high. Ruto comes from a community. If he is uprooted from power, the same way some of us suggest, that community will retaliate and we will have a civil war, if not. I'm not threatening, but sometimes in law or even in economics, you predict actually the trend of, if this thing happen in 2 or 4 years, such a thing may happen. And you thwart. People who learn from history do not repeat the same history. So we have learned from history that as much as sometimes we say, Gen Z united us, that and that, Kenya is ethnic country. That's why today the Gen Z issue is dead. And I think the people who were opposed to Ruto wanted to ride on that Gen Z. What they don't know, that Gen Z was ODM agenda. And somebody asked me today, why did Raila Odinga betray Gen Z? Raila Odinga never betrayed Gen Z. Raila Odinga was part of that revolution. Raila Odinga hijacked a revolution. You cannot hijack a revolution. You cannot. If truly that was an organic revolution, nobody can hijack it. But if Raila Odinga and his inside circle were part of it, they halt it at they call it to an end when somebody else wanted to hijack it. You know, many people still don't know what really happened and why Raila Odinga actually works with William Ruto. I'm not his advocate, but I will say the truth because I have been studying the political trends in this country. You know, like we can say every region, every political party, every individual, we have our policies and we have our fears and things we don't fear. ODM was part of this Gen Z revolution, and I think the likes of Babu Wino, they call the shots from inside. People like Sefoda, they call the shots from inside, and sometimes they could even go ahead. They were the MPs who could go ahead and join those people in the streets when they were protesting, and they were blamed advancedly for that. That's why I know Raila Odinga was part of it. And when Raila Odinga called it off, the day he just raised his hand and said enough is enough, his supporters retreated. And I remember the people who thought the Gen Z was part of them and they were the people who were pushing it. They tried to call the maandamano on nane ikakwama. Wakakuja December wakaitisha ingine ikakwama. Hii waliitisha on 12th ikakwama. Wakaita ingine 6th January ikakwama. So Raila Odinga is the one who was running that maandamano. With his own hand, when he say stop, they stopped. And anybody who want to challenge me can challenge me. And but that was the truth. So the reason why Raila Odinga wanted to work with William Ruto is very simple. Raila Odinga wanted to teach William Ruto a political lesson because William Ruto has become so big-headed that he knew nobody could stop him and Gachagua. So Raila Odinga wanted to teach them a political lesson, and Raila Odinga taught them a very good political lesson by that thing people called organic genes. It was not. So Raila taught them a good political lesson, and in between there was infiltration. You remember when these guys started, they said the parliament is not working for them because ODM, as knew they don't have numbers to bring any effective changes, and that's why the last minute Raila Odinga called out his troops, don't participate on this, don't go there and vote. So when the people started voting, the ODM removed, and that's where the infiltration started. So some people infiltrate this a week to the 25th June. You see, the Ruto must go thing that were being played in club, in churches, in every corner. It came after the reject. It was first reject, then comes the wave of Ruto must go. The people who were pushing Ruto must go were the Gachagua people, and we have to tell them the truth. They were Gachagua people, and Gachagua has never come out to deny that. So if there is a person who wanted to take advantage of that revolution, was Gachagua himself. That's why when Baba realized that my worst enemy, the person who killed people, who used to go to the office as early as 5 to kill people when Azimio was doing maandamano of Sufria, is the one who was going to benefit on this. They turned the table, they agree with the Ruto, and the first demand he told Ruto, because at that time now Ruto was working under his mercy, told Ruto to get rid of Gachagua, and that's how the plan of getting rid of Gachagua was made, and that was served, and the card was dusted. Can make noise outside there, and now he's remaining with Ruto because it is very easy to deal with them one by one. So Gachagua left, we are left with Ruto alone. He gave Ruto time. Ruto still misbehaved because there was an imagination of AU thing. So he gave him time. He never want to involve or engage in local politics. So Ruto have his time. We realize that the Ruto minus Gachagua still is a dangerous man, still abducting people. People are still disappearing, some dying, some being released. So when Baba came back after AU, he made a commitment to actually put Ruto to paper. So they signed that document. And I think the people who think Edwin Sifuna is not speaking for Baba, or James Orengo, or Tiende Amolo, those people are the people who are speaking the language that Raila Odinga need to speak, but is quiet. Because even today, they were together and they were in the same plane with the Sifuna. If Sifuna is not speaking for him, he could have stood there because he speaks last and to tell Sifuna off. But Sifuna spoke, Baba never say anything. So now people should know that 10-point agenda. We save William Ruto. We don't want Ruto to blame us and his community to blame of anybody betraying them. We know he will not implement those things, and that will cause himself, he will cause injury to himself, and that is how he will be removed in power. Once the president is elected, there is a procedure to remove the president from power, not from the streets. Leave alone that Gachagua mentality, that Ruto will be uprooted and then he will be sworn in. That one was very wrong. If you want to remove a sitting president, simple, by not even raising ethnic tension in the republic, is through impeachment. That is in a country that is stable, and through election. And I told people, Ruto will go, but not now, not next year, but in 2027, when Raila will be leaving him at the last juncture. There will be there is going to be a very big political movement, and I don't see William Ruto and Gachagua being part of it. And I don't think the time William Ruto will be left on his own and Gachagua will be left on his own, I don't think they will make any political maneuvers to work together and push and become a competitors. But what I'm seeing, Kalonzo and Martha Karua are there to manage Gachagua, and Raila Odinga is given a time and opportunity to macromanage William Ruto. So it will not take a lot of time before Azimio people comes together with the new guys on board and push William Ruto and this skunk guy. But Gachagua we can't run now. So I don't think if Gachagua can even kaseme Ruto tosha tena after what we have seen. So that there is deep political playing that is going on in the republic, and very soon, I think early by next year, the demand will be very high when Ruto has failed to meet the ODM condition for them to work together. And that's where the rubber will meet the road for them. But for now, let us make a stable country, because between now and 2027, we have a country, and I want to support Raila Odinga 100% on this, because in a stable country, you can go and sell your eggs and come back home. But when there is a running battle, we cannot go to town and do our small, simple. I know there is challenges, yes. The life is hard, not for everybody. And this hard life, here you can't blame Ruto. Yes, there are some policies that are not working that he introduced, but you have to trace this thing as early as 2013 up to now where we are. We should not forget Uhuru. We should not just talk of Kibaki, then Ruto. And there is a 10 good years that were wasted in there between by making bravado, building a railway that is going to a forest. I have never seen in my life a railway coming from a port to a wilderness. That thing was maybe a national park. Yeah, I have never seen. And if you look at the cost of that and the debt we have, my friend, and they went for the loans that have a lot of interest. So I think We need to have a stable country. We better have this hot political argument, but at the end, in the morning, you can wake up, go look for a job you do. Hata kama utapata 300 kuja na hiyo 300 yako kula, alafu tuzidi kupiga siasa, rather than having a country where we have running battle between the police, the army, and the people. Njaa ndio itatuua, by the way, tukikaa kwa manyumba. So what I'm saying and what I'm calling for, let us have a stable country. That is number one. Ruto will go, but in 2027, the people who are dreaming of uprooting president in midway, those are the dreamers, and if they want to challenge me, I will be ready to answer them. We tried all those things, even boycotting an election, it never works. You can only remove a sitting president through election or impeachment. And those impeachments should be driven from the ODM doesn't want to be blamed. The same way the impeachment of Gachagua comes from UDA, we will support it. We supported it. If those UDA MPs now feels that Ruto betrayed them, they should drive or manufacture an impeachment motion, bring it to parliament. ODM will pass it without fear or favor. If they want to do the same for Wetangula, we are also ready. We will do the same, because we want them wakulane wenyewe kwa wenyewe. We don't want to be part of it. And remember, when there is a vacuum, that vacuum will be filled. So if you removed them, mukitusongea sisi tutaingia kwa hiyo space, and you don't have the reason to blame us. Thank you, unless somebody have a question.
Perfect, Eric.
I have a question for Eric. I think he has a wonderful submission, but I also feel that he is misinterpreting issues. And when he says that Raila Odinga was part of the Gen Z's protest, that's a big lie. And he knows that. That Raila Odinga had never been part of the Gen Z's protest. You should also know that the issues that the Gen Zs were raising after the protest are issues that also involve, don't only include Ruto, but also include Raila Odinga. The issues of succession, the issues of recycling old politicians in his camp. These are the issues that the Gen Zs were raising. It is not just about William Ruto. They also raised very important issues that are happening in the country. So Raila Odinga, the Gen Zs never saw him as a solution, and they said that he should sit back. So I don't know why you're getting this skewed kind of thinking that Raila Odinga was part of the Gen Z movement. And another thing that I really also want to clarify. Yes, you say that we cannot remove a sitting president through demonstration. Yeah, that part of the statement is true only when it is not happening within the ODM circles. When ODM were protesting last time, a few years ago, they tried all means to remove a sitting president, but they failed. Now, when the Gen Zs moved a step further to even storm parliament, they were going to remove the president. And the greatest fear is that for Raila Odinga and his team is what next? The guy who was going to occupy the presidency was Gachagua, and that was the greatest fear. So it was a possibility. Picketing is part of the constitution. Demonstration is part of the constitution. Revolutions, we have seen countries coming down like Tunisia. So we have to correct some of these things when you say them, and they look like they are good statements for the public and for supporters of Raila Odinga, but they are wrong statements. Raila Odinga currently are working with William Ruto in parliament. And for you to try and say that, they can bring a motion in parliament, that parliament is already compromised. And you know that so well, that cannot happen. It's already controlled by William Ruto and Raila Odinga. So how will they bring a motion to impeach the president in a parliament that is controlled by the two? That is my question to you.
Okay, let me start by the last question, because I think it is very easy. The parliament has been compromised from the word go. Even when Gachagua was being impeached, already the parliament was compromised. The reason why the so-called Gen Z went to the street, the parliament was compromised. The reason why the Azimio and going with the sufurias on their heads, the parliament had been compromised. So even now, I am challenging you. Call your member of parliament. Tell your member of parliament to table the motion. It should not. Your member of parliament should not come from ODM. Even the Gachagua thing, they try to push it on ODM to engineer, to introduce that bill to the parliament, but they refuse. So if that bill is introduced in parliament by any other member from outside ODM, or even from parties like Wiper, if they are really serious, they want Ruto to go, they should actually bring that motion to the parliament. You will see the signing and the voting. ODM members of parliament will do it. That one, take it to the bank, and you can even try it tomorrow or Tuesday. Your first question was about Gen Z. If the Gen Z was organic and they were even against Raila himself, why didn't Raila stop them? Why did Raila call that maandamano off when he called maandamano off? Maandamano went on silent. It was over. It was over. You cannot start a war you cannot finish a war you have not started. I want to tell you today and take it to the bank, because you know the truth comes out slowly. Today I have heard the truth about 207. I was in class 8, I think. I was very young when that 207 things happened. SK Mashari had just come out today and told us it is him who was called by others to change those figures. He said it. So take it to the bank that if God gave us life, you will one day realize that ODM was fully behind that Gen Z. And the things that people are calling organic were not organic, and ODM was part of it. That's why even if Babu Owino, my MP, misbehaves in ODM, Raila will never speak about him. It is only the people like Junet and the people who are confused down there, like Opondo Kaloma, can attack him. He will not receive that attack from Baba directly. I know Raila Odinga speak for himself. More so the MPs from Luoland. He always speak to them directly. I remember when there was a time Nyakach MP made a certain defamatory statement against Nyong'o, and he came out and told Kaluma, you made a wrong thing. If many people think the likes of Babu Owino and Sifuna are not speaking from Raila Odinga, I am very sorry for them, but very soon, people like Orengo, very soon, the history will judge me right, and somebody should not sit down under a tree one day blaming that Raila Odinga betrayed William Ruto. He is stabilizing this country the way he destabilized it. Raila Odinga was the one, and ODM was the one who was behind those Gen Z thing. And that's why when he says stop, they stopped. And the people who believed it was not him who was calling, people like Wajigi, they went to the street after that. People like Boniface Mwangi, they tried to went to the street. People like Omutata, they tried to went to the street. They call even Naninani that they call the mother of all Maandamano. It never happened. Raila Odinga called his supporters to retreat, and they retreated. So if somebody says it's not Raila Odinga, so the time will prove me wrong, Mzalendo.
Eric, thank you very much for your clarity on what you think. That is your observation. But where I sit, I think the person who called off the Maandamano, and that is why the government is after his neck, is Gachagua. Is the one who held a press conference and told the Gen Zs to retreat, and never at any time did Raila call off the Maandamano. But let me move to Jeremy. Jeremy, you've heard the sentiments of Eric. What do you gather with this kind of thought, Jeremy?
Thanks, Mzalendo. I've listened to Eric, and he has left my head spinning so much so that I don't even know where to start. He's taking me left. When I'm trying to understand left, he goes right. When I'm trying to understand right, he's going north. Before I understand, he's going. I'm not so sure how I can answer Eric generally, but I think that yes, Eric, your submissions are your opinions, but I think that they are a little bit far-fetched in some areas, especially when you're saying that ODM was involved in the Gen Z demos and Raila called off. How the hell does that even make sense? I don't understand it. You are making this Raila look like an all omnipresent type of human being. Eh? The Gen Zs was an amorphous creation of the Gen Zs themselves. Everyone knows who was behind it. No one has ever said Raila was behind it until you today. So that part, bado sielewi vizuri. The part also of calling them off, I know that Gashagwa did do a press briefing to ask them to stop. That was one factor. The second factor, these guys, the thing got infiltrated by government operatives. All right. Remember, let me tell you, in the history of youth campaign teams, Ruto created that idea way back in 1992 Y2K. Eric umesema 2007 you were in standard 8. So I think stories are 92 probably hautaelewa, but let me give you history. Ruto was behind the youth for KANU 92. He has been in youth political groupings up to now. He knows how they operate. He knows how he has been on the receiving end of those from the government. He knows how to destabilize them. So he knew the first thing is infiltrated, and he did that with these operatives. Wakaingia, so that's why the first demonstration on the first or Tuesday that they happened, it was really a real demonstration of the Gen Zs. The second and the third, it was not even the Gen Zs, it was Ruto's operatives that were now just running ahead and just marking people. And that's the genesis of all this, kidnappings and all these other things. So that is fact number 2. Fact number 3, something that has never happened in the history of country and demonstrations. There has never been a time when a military grade sniper has been deployed by the government to pick demonstrators from the rooftop of a building, and no one even sees him. No one even knows who he is. No one even knows what he looks like. And he's just shooting people in the... That is very scary. Remember how that happened? So parents started calling their own children, tell them, mtoto wangu tafadhali wachana. And that really create a lot of fear in the youth, because the government had a sniper on top of parliament. So you are down there demonstrating, saying whatever you're saying, but you don't know you are on the crosshairs of that sniper. If you don't know how scary that is, ask anybody in the military and tell you the moment a military ground battalion hits the ground and they hear the word sniper, everything stops until that sniper is identified and immobilized. It is that bad. So those are some of the factors that led to the dissipation of the Gen Z demonstrations. So I think that saying that Raila was behind it and Raila called it off, I think that's a little bit too much power to Raila, and that's a little bit too far-fetched. I believe so. 3, I think when I listen to you, Eric, you are saying that Raila is sent to manage Ruto right? And Kalonzo and Karua are sent to manage Gachagua. Who is doing the sending? Who is doing the sending? I would love to understand that particular question from you, Eric. But other than that, I agree
Oh,
with you. We need a stable country. We need to find a way to deal with our present danger. And to me, the present danger is this UDA administration. It is the most immediate threat and danger to the existence of this country. Whichever way we choose to deal with it, like you said, choices have consequences, but we need to really find a way to deal with it for posterity.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Jeffrey Mburu, Eric, before you answer Jeremy, Jeff Mburu, are you still with us? Mburu was saying he was very tired. Mburu, I think Mburu is drifting to sleep.
It's
Anyway,
probably so.
Eric, you have a chance to respond.
okay. Thank you, Jeremy and Mazalendo. I just want to tell Jeremy, I may be young, but I'm a historian. That is what I study. So I love history so much. So the story of 1992, I think I'm very well conversant with it. But I think politics change as time goes by. You cannot use the tactics used in 1992 and bring them in 2022, 20 years later. That is very wrong. So what I'm saying, because dynamics all change, and the things that they were fighting for at that time are also different. So many things, many factors changes. So, and the generation that we are dealing with now is also different with that generation that was there in 1992. But what I want to say is one, I want you to get me loud and sound. ODM was part of that Mandamano. And if you want to know that ODM were the owners of that Mandamano, after the parliament was encroached, it is the ODM leaders who came out when now the Ruto Must Go song was being played, and they said, the war that is being fought now is not our war. And they were calling their people not to go to the street. I'm telling you that the first Mandamano that was planned to reject the bill, there was nothing organic. Yes, there are many people that joined that because it was not Raila's face. You know, there is a trend in this country, and you know that's why I tell you that Raila is a political camouflager. He camouflages in politics. It's like what we call in my mother tongue a nerf. Yeah, he changes. He can bring his face, but you think this face is not Raila. Raila looks green, but now he looks brown. I want to tell you, one day read that thing and studied it keenly. If ODM and Raila Odinga was not behind that, one day we will be here and you will tell me. They were behind it and they knew everything that was going on, but it was hijacked. That is the fact. You see, the first Maandamano was reject. It was only reject. Remember, Ruto Must Go wave comes the week now to the encroachment of parliament. That's the first week was purely reject. It was reject all over. There was no Ruto Must Go anywhere. The second week, that now leads to the 25th of June, is where the word Ruto Must Go was introduced, and that's the time the clubs, the DJs, because it was being funded, the DJs, and that is the week that you start seeing the people like Wanjigi, the people like many politicians, and even their kids, even the kids of the likes of Muturi, going to the street. That is when this thing was being hijacked. So Raila being Raila, he could not just come out and ODM to take the blame and other people benefit. They knew we have started a game. Some people
But now,
are joining in to dance and they want to read. Yeah?
Eric, let me just get
Yeah.
some clarification from you, because these are statements from you. The first
Yes,
statement
exactly.
you said in your very initial submission, that Raila saw this thing going to happen, and then he saw that the beneficiary of that removal of Ruto was going to be his sworn enemy. Who is who? Wamunyoro. So he
Well,
decided
Gachagua,
then
yeah.
to work with him. Now you are saying that Raila was the one doing. How those two statements don't make sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you. I don't know how it makes sense to you, but those two statements don't make sense.
You don't, Jeremy, you don't understand me. What I'm saying, this thing was planned by the ODM and take it to the bank. But when this thing was speaking, and it was now at its home stretch, there was a filtration in the second week. That's when the ODM realized that we are doing this, but some people are now taking a different trajectory, and whoever will go and benefit on this is not us, it is somebody else. That's
So
when
then they went back and
they ended it up, and you had ODM people saying theirs was to reject bill. Ruto must go. ODM has never owned it, and even Raila disowned it today. Ruto must go. Agenda is not Raila's agenda. Raila's agenda was rejected. He confirmed it today, unless you are not reading the political lenses. But if you read the political lenses, the part of that of rejected was Raila's, but the part of Ruto must go was not Raila up to today, and they confirmed it. So that song Ruto must go that came in the second week was not for Raila. He could not just come out that time and say, because you know in the course of revolution you don't divide opinion that way, you go slowly. But with the time it is now bare, and you could even listen to people like Wanga who are saying, yes, we have rejected the bill.
Eric, you said that I don't understand. Let me just help myself to understand you. So you are saying that Raila and ODM organized the demonstrations to reject.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Exactly.
Then now that was being taken over, and then Ruto must go came in from another quarter, right?
Exactly. To fuel,
and then now ODM comes back and fights it.
Exactly.
Okay, so
it is like going to hunt. You have killed a lion. You've thrown the spear, and you have killed an antelope, and somebody want to claim the antelope. That is what happened in simple analogy. If you go and hunt, it is your spears that kills it, and then somebody want to claim because his dogs or his dog was the one that he was immediately after your spear. Yeah, he want to claim it. In my mother tongue, we call it diero, something like that. If I'm very correct, yeah. So the diero person is not the killer. The killer have his parts, and the diero person also have his parts, and that's why when Ruto realized that the opposition is beating me, they are my enemy, and then there is an enemy that is fighting me from within. That's what made President so much angry with Gachagua. My friend, it is Gachagua that many people make Gachagua look big. that he organized the demos. How, where on earth a deputy president who is being driven by a police, sleeps with the police, being cooked for by the police, can organize such a maandamano silently without state knowing? And he comes out because he was also very clever, and many people never want us to go that direction up to today, to blame the NIS. Then our NIS slept on the job. A public officer who works with the NIS people, who could even be mugged backciting a president in Kisumu, can go ahead and organize such a morphous thing minus the state knowing. Jeremiah, we will be here looking very stupid, and we will be here saying that if Al-Shabaab wametupangia, we can't know. Kenya have the best intelligence in Africa. In fact, the fourth after CIA, after Mossad, after M16, and I think the Russia one, or the Scottish Yard. We are number 5. We are even better in terms of intelligence than China. We are ranked higher than China. You can't tell me that a sitting officer, a
Ayaga,
sitting
that is
public officer,
laughable. What you just said
yes,
is laughable. Are
what,
you just talking, or you really have facts to back that
so, but
intelligence you are saying?
Yes, we are ranked. You can ask Google, or you can do whatever research you have. We are all number 5, or if not number 5, number 6. Yes, we are ranked ahead of China for your reason, for your information. In terms of intelligence wise, our intelligence apparatus in Kenya is the best in Africa. Yes, we are even ahead of countries that you think are ahead of us kimaendeleo. Google or do your research or ask anybody, and then come here and tell me Ayaga you are lying. So that is what I'm saying. We have the best intelligence. Remember, let me give you an example for your information. If you doubt our level of intelligence, let me tell you, do you know our intelligence crash Al-Shabaab? Remember the same Al-Shabaab walitwanga watu wa Amerika mpaka waka withdraw Somalia. Remember that. It is our intelligence that when they joked with us, cracked them down, we went and even delivered Kismayu. Or you think the military did it without minus intelligence? Intelligence played a key role. So my brother, our intelligence is the best. We can't say Rigathi Gachagua. Actually, that was a mistake to kill a dog. You know, if you want to kill a dog, you give it a bad name. That's why this skunk of Gen Z anawekewa. But I don't think Rigathi Gachagua was so smart. He could have even affirmed his impeachment. He could have even caused chaos after his impeachment. He could have even caused some little movement when he was being pushed out. Rigathi Gachagua was pushed out with his tail under his legs, and even up to today he's just making noise out there. He cannot make any tangible thing. Yeah?
Eric,
Yeah?
let me fact check you.
Yeah,
I'm just
Jeremy,
googling.
you know, I'm trying to digest what Eric is saying.
I'm just googling the top intelligence agencies in the world. Nimefika 29. Kenya hata iko karibu hapo. What are you saying? Naangalia top intelligence government agencies in Africa. Kenya hata iko kwa hiyo list bado.
Eric,
So I don't know what...
1 hour. Eric, 1 hour. I am telling you, Eric, some of the things that you are saying.
You know, fact checking is very easy nowadays, Eric. We have internet. That's why we're even on YouTube right now. You say something that doesn't make sense, I just go to Google and Google it and I get my answers, or I just search for it. That intelligence bit, you've lied.
Raila, you can continue. Raila was part of destabilizing, was part of the Gen Z movement. He wanted to destabilize the Ruto's government. Then Ruto sacks the deputy president. Instead of kicking out Raila's members from his committee, he now gives them jobs and all that to accommodate them. What kind of thinking is this? Seriously, this is madness. Eric, this is madness of the eye. This is what I see sometimes happening in Jacaranda. How can you imagine that Raila was part of the Gen Z movement? He was never part of the Gen Z movement. This is serious. This is serious. Don't misguide people. Raila was never part of the Gen Z movement. He actually hijacked, and that is why the Gen Zs are ever furious about Raila Odinga. And they tell you,
Mzalendo,
yeah.
Mzalendo, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think let's just be a little bit factual. The same way you are saying. I don't know even where Jacaranda is. Yes, I know the place, but I have never been there. So let me tell you this. If it is true that that thing was organic, and the same so-called Gen Z tried to call that thing off, call it on after June 25th, mbona wajaiendelea? All because of the reasoning of my brother Omondi, who is saying the snipers were around around the parliament building. Yeah. So, my brother, if there is somebody who was, if Gashagwa was behind this thing, I think even with the impeachment of Gashagwa, he could have just called his troop to the street. That is what Raila Odinga always does when amekanyagwa mahali politically. He calls his troops to the street, and when he feels that he's now satisfied with his achievement, he calls his troops back. I am challenging you. Tell those Gen Zs today, let them organize themselves. We will have a finance bill in less than 2 months. Let them organize themselves and call on another big demonstration and challenge Raila Odinga. It was not you. Now that Raila is working with William Ruto, Raila will just tell his supporters don't go. The same way he told them in nane musiende. The same way ODM called his troops in city January musiende. On 12th December he told his troops musiende. Hakukuwa na maandamano. There was just that fear, but there was no protest. Tukue tu tuseme ukweli. Yes, he was not there in person. You know, if Raila was there in person, some people in Mount Kenya could just go and post that maandamano and say you are destroying our business. Yes, that's why I'm telling you Raila is a political camouflage. Yes.
Eric.
He tried it in 2023. He tried it in 2023. He tried it in 2023. He tried it in 2023, and the people from Mount Kenya came out and said Raila is destroying for them their business. We were almost killed in Ruma here when we were blocked from roundabout ya Kariobangi hii na tukafungiwa tena kutoka pale kwa Moi Airbase. Remember we had to hepa na Raila kutoka kuingia hapa Madare na tutoke na huko hiyo njia ya number 14 ya Ruma ya huko chini. So, and it was not the police alone. It was Raila backed by the police and the people of Mount Kenya, to be specific, who were beating Raila's people and Raila himself because Raila was destroying their business. So if you think you wanted to see Raila on top of a vehicle heading that Gen Z is when you believe it was him and his party, then you will be wrong. And I think that is what will happen at the tail end if Ruto fails to actually make his commitment true to ODM. Raila will not be on the street. Raila will just do his things and release his troops like Babu Owino and the rest to the streets. And I think you will see fire. Thank you.
Jeremiah, you can respond to Eric, of course. He has talked a lot of things, of course. Personally, I'm also digesting what Eric is saying.
I am doing the same, but he's made his submission, and as much as some of us don't agree with what he's saying, that is his submission. The bottom line is that we need a stable country. We need to have an administration that works for Kenyans. We need to have a government that is progressive, that makes the country move forward. And to be honest, that administration is not the current Ruto administration as it's constituted, as it's operating. How we make that change happen is where a lot of Kenyans now have divergent opinions, right? For example, there are people who believe that Raila should not have shaken hands, joined forces with Ruto. Some are okay with it. There are some who say, this, some say that. So that is where the opinions differ on how we need to change the course. But one thing that we all agree on is that this administration is not moving us in the right direction, and we need to change it. So that much I believe. And I think we've been going for long. I have to go to church in the morning, Bon. I don't know if I'm allowed to leave. And then we'll be here tomorrow.
Yes, thank you, Jeremiah. Of course, I know tomorrow here in East Africa is 23 minutes past 1 p.m. Yes, tomorrow is on, today is on Sunday. For those who go for the fasting service, the likes of Jeremiah, we wish you well. And of course, you pray for country Kenya, so that we can also get a leader who will transform, so that Kenya can match South Africa, for example. Because whenever I watch what is happening, what is happening in South Africa, then I wonder when will Kenya match with the streets of Cape Town and Johannesburg. Mzalendo, you're back. Yeah. You have some question for Eric, of course. You are saying
I
something.
think Eric has really surprised me, but I like this kind of thinking. It is so, how would I say it? It's so unorthodox, it's a kind of thinking. It's beyond my imagination that somebody would think that, the Kenyan intelligence is on top of Africa and nearly one of the best in the world. Yet during the demonstrations, they couldn't even predict that people were going to be mugged when the president was touring Nairobi. This intelligence is so good that they can't even resolve the cases of these young people who have been killed. And, Eric, it is sad that you are saying that Raila was the sponsor of the demonstration, yet so many youths were killed. So many youths died in this demonstration. Those youths were actually lured to demonstrate because of Raila Odinga. That's what you are saying. So the snipers who are killing these young people, who killing Raila supporters, and he came again and joined the same government. We have not seen him coming out and asking for compensation for these youths who were killed. Yeah. So when you talk things like that, it is heartening. Yet some of these young people are still missing to date. And you say that Raila Odinga was indeed the sponsor of the Gen Z movement. And you come again and say that, when he came out and when they told them to retreat, they retreated. Let me correct you there, because I think you've been reading from one line of script on one line of thought. Now, this is what happened, and this is how government works and intelligence. When they realized that the Gen Zs were getting too much and they were ready to topple the government of William Ruto, they talked to politicians, especially those ones in Kibra and Kamkunji, to infiltrate the Gen Z movement and cause the chaos and disruption. That is what happened, if you didn't know. That is what happened. Those youths who had joined Gen Z much later during the demonstrations were actually ODM supporters who came much later. And that is when the distractions became very clear that the political class was indeed sponsoring the goons. We saw clips of MCAs and leaders giving money to goons to disrupt the function, the demonstrations of Gen Zs. And the Gen Zs were tortured into submission. No parent would want their children to go out there and be killed by the president in the name of what you are saying, Raila Odinga, which is a big lie. These Gen Zs came out very clearly. They started mobilizing way back on the social platform. Raila Odinga has never used the social platform to mobilize anything. He uses the traditional method of demonstration. These guys were using technology. They're using the internet to organize themselves, and they did it very perfectly. Something that the ODM could not achieve. So don't be part of the glory of something that was achieved perfectly by these young people to bring change and to enable the government come to the table and negotiate with Kenyans. Of which Ruto, instead of negotiating with, this is where the problem of William Ruto comes in. Instead of negotiating with the right people, he negotiated with the political class, which is Raila Odinga. And that is why he's still having a problem today. When the Gen Zs called William Ruto to the X platform, Raila was upset. He had no representative there. It was the young people of Kenya who were calling the president and telling him what they want done for their country. So don't try to mislead Kenyans to think that Raila Odinga was so important during the demonstration that he's the one who called it off. Yet we know very well that it is Gachagua who actually pleaded with the Gen Zs, and it is Ruto who made an effort to reach out to the Gen Zs. And when an opportunity came to the cabinet of an appointment, he still recycled the old politicians from the ODM, pretending that now this is a government of national unity. No, that is where the problem is. And that is why these two are going home in 2027. Take that to the bank the way you've been talking here, saying that that Ruto is not going anywhere. They are all going home because you don't read the agenda, you don't read the mood of the country. The country wants change. The country is tired with these political theatrics. The country wants a leader that will represent Kenya and represent all of us. There is nothing like a government of national unity. If you have a good president who understands his role as a president of the country, he doesn't have to call other communities to come in and help him in leadership. He has just to do the right thing. And that's my take for that.
Oh, okay, Mzalendo, I will just answer, I think, one or two.
Yes.
You say Raila has joined the government, but he has not demanded the compensation for the young kids who are killed. Number one, I want to tell you that there is no mandamano that has never been white mandamano without blood. All these mandamano, people always die. And I think sometimes you get so blind by hating things that you don't want even to read. That 10-point agenda, have you read them? If you have read them, one of them is saying compensation, and I think Sifuna repeated today, compensation for the people who lost their lives and the people who were injured during the mandamano of 2023 and 2024, the so-called Gen Z one. I think if you could have read this thing, you know, the good thing of me, even if I disagree with you politically, I listened for you too much. That's why every time I may have political disagreement with Gachagua, but huwa namsikiza sana. Yes, huwa namsikiza because I don't want to get everything wrong. In politics, my brother Mzalendo, don't go for the spoken words. Go for unspoken. Like even in this in this thing called pact between William Ruto. Go for the unseen. Don't talk and go for the things you are seeing and you are hearing them saying. The unseen one or the unsaid, the unspoken word are more important when interpreting the politics. If you look at Raila Odinga's lieutenant and their body language, they can tell you. And we know who Raila Odinga lieutenants are. And I don't think none of them have spoken about this pact. You see, I was asking somebody the other day, have you ever seen Raila Odinga signing anything? And Oledamo Lekina is the one who is watching him behind. And Sifuna, who is not even interested, is there in his capacity as Secretary General. Without that post, hangekuwa pale. Otiende Amolo, who ought to be there and telling Baba do that is not even there. Paul Mwangi, who has always been with Raila since even when Raila was signing MOU with Moi, with Kibaki, who was not there. You are going for sycophant. You want to listen for sycophant like Junet Mohammed. If Raila Odinga wake up tomorrow and say, I'm done with Ruto, it is the number one person who will make that noise that we are done with you is Aladwa, is Opondo Kaluma, is Gladys Wanga, and Junet. Now look at the people who can have a stand, like Babu Owino, like Paul James Orengo, like even Anyang' Nyong'o is not even interested. He just gave his point, and he told us in Busia that listen for what Sifuna is telling you. If I look here, uko mbele naona Sifuna. Even Osotsi, who is a party leader, deputy party leader, was not there. Even Joho, who is a party leader, was not there. My brother, let us have some political lenses and always look for the unsaid, the unseen, and the unspoken words or things in any political arrangement. Kuna mtu anachezwa mahali. Na huo mtu anachezwa in a way that we don't want that person to blame anybody. He signed that thing. That thing was signed, and it is them who will break that covenant. And then we will say we tried our best to hold your hand when you are down, and you refuse, so we are done with you. Uko mbele, si hapa. So that is a political predictability that I have on my side. Because I know Raila Odinga. I know the people who can speak for Baba. Not Opondo Kaloma, not Gladys Wanga, can't be Junet Mohammed, can't be Aladwa. But I know very few people, even from where I come from. I can tell you, if you get so and so speak, study the body language, listen for what that guy is saying. If Raila Odinga took a position and you try to cross his position, he always go with you head on. And this time, people are saying Baba has taken a position. It is a belief the same way you believe Raila was not part of the Gen Z, and me I believe the otherwise. It's the same way you believe Raila Odinga has now betrayed people of Kenya by joining the government. But I'm telling you, it is opposite. Maybe he's looking for stability of this nation. After that, everybody will have his cake and eat it. I think I have answered you, because me, I always just tell people what I predict and everything. I have been in Mutembei. I think I joined Mutembei and Mzalendo and Africa. I have never joined Africa, but I have been in Mutembei as early as 2019 when we were campaigning for Mandamano, for BBI. I predicted. Even the handshake, I said Raila and Oshwa. We were the people who believed Raila and Oshwa. And I have a lot of problems with my community, my tribesmen. But when it comes to pass, we say, but we warned you. This thing here, Ruto is being played. And then there is a making. and I believe that Ruto will be made one-term president. And it's being done smartly so that our mad people who used to start carrying arrows and spears should not wake up and killing the people inside, the people who are staying inside their community. The politics is managed, and the politics is stage managed. And write this thing down. I will call Mutembei tomorrow. I have his number. I will remind him of what I told him in past years, and I will want him to be here because we started all these online things with him. I only disappear. I only speak politics and I disappear. Yeah.
Now, Eric, we don't want you to disappear because we have been in this game for a very long time. When Raila was losing, we said he's losing. When he was losing the AU seat, we said he is losing. When he has joined Ruto right now and is trying to play, play opposition politics at the same time being government, he is going to lose big time. And this is where we say it all. We say it as it is, without sugarcoating anything. This war is not about Raila Odinga or William Ruto. This war is about saving the soul of this country called Kenya. It is about the things that have gone wrong for a very long time. And it is not Ruto's problem, neither is it Raila's, but they have been a part of the problem, but they have failed to have any solutions to the problem facing many Kenyans. And now, if you go back to 2007, during the Kriegler report, you don't need the pointers that Kina Junet were raising, which I say here on this particular channel, that was a bogus showdown that we saw Sifuna dressed casually to come and sign an important document with Baba watching there. You could just see the body language. This is a game that we are being taken to back and forth. There is nothing tangible or anchored in law that they were signing between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. There is nothing. It is unconstitutional, does not bear any fruits at all. But when you look at what happened in 2007, and we changed, we have the constitution accommodated Raila Odinga, then you realize that the 8 pointers that were raised by Kriegler, the Kenyan government has never addressed those 8 pointers. And those 8 pointers are so important. And I look back to them and I tell you that hizo 8 pointers ndio itakuja kukula wa Kenya. Itakuja kukula wa Kenya. If they have not dealt with the youth unemployment, the national cohesion and unity, accountability and justice, land reforms, those are things that are going to eat us upper belly, IBC, political violence. These are the things that are going to destroy this country. And until when the government of the day, I don't know which one it will be, will address the 8 pointers on the national accord. We don't need what happened the other day, the NARCO report. We only need the 8 pointers in the national accord. The Kriegler report addresses each and every issue that we are facing today. Now, with that, I think we come to an end of yet another interesting show of Afrique 24. I want to thank Jeremy for being part of this show. I think Jeremy is already asleep, unless he had something to say, but nafikiri Jeremy amelala. Awesome. Asante sana for being on the panel this evening. You've always been entertaining and giving us and reminding us of what we need to discuss. Now, Jeremy is back. Maybe your last word before I close down.
I had finished Mzalendo. I was just waiting for you to wind up. But thank you for having me on the show. And I look forward to another engaging discussion.
Thank you very much, and have a good night, and see you tomorrow as we wind up the week. Now, awesome. Asante sana for being part of the panel. panel, and there was this guy called Dickens Bulletin. Next time kuja hapa kwa studio, we get to hear what you are saying about Raila Odinga and your country called Kenya. So guys, Eric Kanyanga, asante sana. You've been awesome in this discussion. We want you to make Africa 24 your home. We like your views. We like those kind of views. They are very, very informative. Maybe we can pick one or two things that you have said are correct, and look at ways of shaping the politics of our nation. With that, we come to an end of yet another show on Africa 24. I hope you guys have enjoyed the discussion. Otherwise, good night from Virginia.
Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, hakiliwe na mlinzi, na tukae na udugu, amani na uhuru, na tupate na ustawi. Amkeni ndugu zetu, tufanye sote bidii, nasi tujitoe kwa nguvu. Nchi yetu ya Kenya tunayoipenda, tuwe tayari kuilinda, na tujenge taifa letu. Ndio wajibu wetu. Kenya istahili heshima, tuungane mikono pamoja kazini, kila siku tuwe na shukrani.